Hello again. First of all, I'd like to say how much of a great fight last night was between Miguel Cotto and Austin Trout. It was much better fight than many anticipated, much more entertaining, much more level fight than anybody could have thought. And Trout, well, I don't think many really expected that. There was the cases where people were thinking there could be an upset here. It looks big, especially when they're weighing. But really, majority of people would have gone for the safe bet of Miguel Cotto, and Austin Trout was just absolutely brilliant last night. Um, it was people will say it was should have been a closer decision. It was. I did have it 118, 110 to Austin Trout, although I think 117, 111 or 116, 112 would have been perfectly reasonable scorecards. It was close fight through a lot of rounds, but I just felt that activity from Trout was what won him the rounds. He boxed a brilliant game plan. Rarely let Cotto get on the inside. Cotto had his successes, especially from round 3 through to 6. He was very good there, and that's when he nicked the majority of his rounds. And that's why people are getting a bit confused about the 119 scorecard, but I added 118. But it was just a great performance by Trout. I thought he boxed brilliantly to a game plan. He was too big for Cotto. No, he couldn't hurt him. He did have him on occasions. He stunned him more than Cotto stunned Trout. Stunned him earlier with a left hand in the 42nd round, and stunned him again later in the fight with a perfectly placed uppercut. Reminiscent of Margarito, the way he took him apart in the end with them uppercuts. And it just seems to be a weakness of Miguel's that he has. And Trout caught him with one last night. And that's really when you just saw that it was almost the fight had gone out to Miguel. As for being the end of his career, I don't think so, because you look at his last fight against Mayweather. Everybody was saying, man, that this could be another start for Miguel after the Pacquiao Margarito defeats. Come back, won the rematch against Margarito convincingly the end of last year, and then again against Mayweather, put up one of the best displays of his career against the pound for pound best fighter in the world, and gave him one of the toughest fights he's had in many years. And again, he come into this fight, and again, people are saying after the fight, Miguel's finished. He just didn't click, and he didn't click. He wasn't a perfect Miguel last night, but let's give some credit to Trout. He took away all of Cotto's strengths on the inside. He just didn't let him get in there. Counted him perfectly. Got off quicker as well. Got off the first shot when Miguel threw. He would counter him, and just never let Miguel get on the inside. Held him up. Not really blatant holding, but that just moving. You just take that step forward to make the gap so impossible for Miguel to throw punches. You'd only be thrown to the back of the head, so on, and they just got tangled up so much, and just Miguel wasn't able to take over and use his physical advantage on the inside. But that was down to Trout being so superb last night. May well be near the end of Miguel Cotto, but one thing for sure, it's definitely the beginning. It's the arrival of Austin Trout here, and I'm not going to compare him to the greats yet. He hasn't done that in his career, but every great fighter starts with beating a future Hall of Famer. It's just like what you do. It's just part of a career of almost all great boxers. Just to point out, if you look at Larry Holmes, he beat Muhammad Ali late in his career, obviously, well past his best. But Larry Holmes beat him, that almost started his career there. Ricky Hatton beating Kotsu, though Kotsu was nearing the end of his career, past his heyday. Ricky Hatton, beat him, and that really started his own Hall of Fame career. Manny Pacquiao, although he was already a great fighter, he elevated him to the top of the pound for pound list with his victory over an age in Oscar de la Hoya. And again, since then it's just got bigger and bigger for him, and that was by beating a future Hall of Famer. And so many other fighters have done it. And is this Austin Trout the start of his great, maybe Hall of Fame career, by starting off now by beating future Hall of Famer, the first person ever to beat Miguel in the Madison Square Garden, and really do it probably in a more convincing fashion than maybe you could say Mayweather did. Beat him better on the scorecards, looked very comfortable in there, and he was just dominated, especially by the end rounds 10, 11, 12. He was really in control, really starting to put some lever onto Miguel Cotto, and beat the fight out of him in the end. So it could well be the arrival of Trout. Cotto, everybody said before the fight that Cotto could win this. A lot of people were saying Cotto will win this. He just got too much on the inside. He'll be too marauding. We'll be able to get on there, get to Trout too easily, and we'll be able to beat him on points and maybe in a late stoppage. But not many envision this. I said personally, without bragging too much, that Trout would win. Personally, I just felt I'm quite a big fan of Trout. I've talked to him over his last few fights, especially the Rodriguez fight, controlled that brilliantly, and I just felt, honestly and truthfully, that he would win this fight. I just felt if he can stick to the outside, he'll have some rough patches, which he did, but I think overall he can win the fight, and thankfully I was proved right. So, but everybody has their own predictions, and I can't blame anybody for going for Cotto, because personally, I even thought myself, Cotto can easily do this. This is one Cotto. If he just, he can win this. He's obviously the favourite. He could get to Trout. It's not exactly a done deal that Trout could keep him off for 12 rounds, as many believed he wouldn't, but he did. And in the end, it was him pushing the fight, pushing the action in the final rounds. Again, so Trout, it's just the arrival. I say every great fighter has to arrive sometime by beating a top fighter, whether they're on the slide or whether they're in peak. It doesn't really matter. They've got to beat somebody. And considering Cotto was coming off the defeat to Mayweather, it was one of his best performances, and before that, the win over Margarito, he was really looking good at light middleweight. Trout beat him convincingly. Could have easily not taken the fight. He's with Golden Boy, taking another easy fight, built himself up. But he went in there and said, I want to fight Cotto. And you got to give him credit for that. You got to give Cotto credit for fighting a champion like Trout, knowing he's giving up a lot of advantages in size and speed. But he took the fight and realised in the end that Trout was the better fighter. So hopefully now this is a bright future for Trout. I'm a big fan of Trout. I've never usually picked sides in boxing, but I had to last night. Big Cotto fan over the years. He's warm to everybody in boxing because of his style and the way he fights. But Trout has just got that personality, that fighting style I really enjoy watching. And I'm so glad he won last night and proved to everybody how good he is. So hopefully now fights with Canelo Alvarez, lying weight. Obviously then there's other super fights if Mayweather wants to come up, or Pacquiao. And I'm sure Trout will be able to hold his own with anybody now. He's proved that with the defence against Cotto. I think he's very much deserving of a shot at the fights Cotto was being muted to have against the likes of Pacquiao and Canelo Alvarez. One final thing about Danny Jacobs on the undercard, another brilliant fight in his recovery. A nice 5-round stoppage win. Did what he had to do, controlled the fight, got some rounds in the bag, and another great development fight for him, and hopefully we're back out in February. So again, thank you for listening, and next week I'll be talking about the fourth instalment of Juan Manuel Marquez versus Manny Pacquiao, and I'll be previewing that fight. So again, thank you for listening.